Hello once again and welcome to another episode of your friendly neighborhood art teacher. I am your educator, your host and all-around creative guy, Fnat. Last week we talked about the smudging technique, and if you do not know the smudging technique, please pause the video and go and watch that other one. And in this episode we are going to look further and learn about tonal gradation or tonal variation. So let's get into it. What is tonal gradation? In the previous lesson, we learned about tone, the lightness and darkness of a color. Variation or gradation is the change of tone from either dark to light or light to dark. Tone, ladies and gentlemen, is the lightness and darkness of a color. Very important. Tonal gradation or tonal variation is the change of a color or tone from light to dark or from dark to light. Always remember that. There are two types of gradation. What are they? There are two kinds of gradation: blended gradation and staggered gradation. Blended gradation is when tone flows from light to dark or vice versa smoothly without any break. While in staggered gradation, there is a clear break between each tone. Here you can clearly see where one tone ends and another begins. A staggered gradation, always remember that there is a clear break between tones. You could clearly see where one tone ends and the other tone begins. Whether it's light going lighter, getting lighter and becoming lightest, or dark going darker to the darkest. So you can clearly see where the tone ends and where the other tone begins. But blended tone, they are blending. It blends from dark to light or light to dark seamlessly without a clear break. So always remember that. Do you remember how to achieve light tone and dark tone using the smudging technique? Exactly. Applying more pressure for a longer time to achieve a dark tone, while applying less pressure for a shorter time to achieve a light tone. Rubbing can be done in either circular, horizontal, diagonal, or vertical movements, as long as it works for you. When you want a dark tone, you apply more pressure, and when you want a light tone, you reduce the pressure or shade lightly. Don't punish your pencil when you're pushing it down onto the paper so that you want to break the paper. Let your pencil go wild.
For this lesson, you will need a ruler, a piece of paper, a sharpener, and a rubber. It's quite simple, really. Start by taking your piece of paper and putting it on a flat surface. Choose which layout you want. You can either go with landscape or portrait. I choose to go with landscape. Using a pencil, measure 1 centimeter from each edge of the paper. Lightly connect the dots. This will give you a set of margins and guidelines that you can use for your strips. On your margins, mark out how big you want your strip to be. You can choose any size for practice. I chose to go with 4 centimeters. Remember, when sketching, lightly press the pencil. Do not apply pressure. In case of any mistakes, you can easily solve it. Leave space underneath that rectangle that you have just drawn and draw another of equal size. When you're satisfied with the dimensions, darken the lines. I'm using a dark art pencil, but you can just apply pressure to the pencil that you are using. You'll be just fine. For your staggered gradation strip, you will have to divide the rectangle into equal portions. Here's a shortcut. Fold your paper into equal halves and only press the section that you see your outline. When you open, you would see that you have divided your rectangle into equal halves. We still need to divide these halves into quarters. Repeat the procedure and fold the paper into half. And then proceed to fold it again into a quarter. Open up the paper and you will have 4 quarters. You can do this and repeat this until you have as many sections as you want, but don't overdo it. In the next lesson, we shall learn more and practice on how to create tonal gradation using the smudging technique.
Okay, and we shall meet next time. Kudos.